Well, thank you, Mayor. I'm Jonathan Cook, Director of Parks and Recreation, and I'm going to come out and state the obvious here. And it's not just the city employees that you've heard from today, community organizers, but because you are sitting here and been stated, you love your job, you love your church, you love your organization, you love your neighborhood. And I'll be flat out, I love my job. And why? It's because we love people. We love to be able to service our community. We love being able to talk to people. We love being able to help people. And so when you look at Parks and Recreation and what we do, the heart of it is we bring our community together. And we do that in a variety of ways. And whether that can be through recreational programs, whether that can be in something simple as a walk in a park and connecting someone with nature, or something as large as a community festival or event. We seek ways, and really our mission is how do we bring all the different people of Waco together so there is that sense of community. And so it's exciting times right now. Great support from people like yourself and the neighborhoods. We just have the most loyal park users I can think of. Everybody's passionate about what we do and excited to join us. And that's why I'm glad to be here today, is to really show how can y'all really join and we can team together to make things happen. A couple of exciting projects. We're definitely in a project phase in Parks and Recreation, but I wanted to hit a couple of highlights. Obviously, number one, people are like, well, when are we going to get the suspension bridge back open? And the downtown, the Riverwalk, those are the heartbeat of a lot of what we do, and a lot of us have memories of those historical areas. Well, in the next month or so, we are going to be having our grand reopening of the suspension bridge. We're excited to be announcing that in a couple weeks to get that project back open. And that's really a showcase. When you just think of that iconic landmark of the suspension bridge, it exemplifies, and it really bridges our community together. I also wanted to comment on our Doris Miller Community Center, which is a revitalization project to really bring back the Doris Miller Community Center in East Waco and provide an area where not only we have after school programs, we have recreational activities, but it's a place where you can have a family reunion, to where you can have a class or a neighborhood meeting. And we have aquatic options, different rooms, and we're right now really renovating that entire project. We do have hope that we're going to be able to host some kids this summer for some summer camps, and we're looking forward to that one. A lot of neighborhood projects, and those range from a big park projects, so we're at the site of the old Floyd Casey development, to where we have the Hart-Patterson track, and we're looking forward to creating upwards to a 30-acre park to really be an anchor of our city and a destination park, but service the existing neighborhood and the new neighbors that might be coming in. Also Lions Park, another park. I tell you, you got Cameron Park, but people about Lions Park, and that's another project that we've taken on to really bring back a place where families can join together with friends and come out to experience something special with big trees and green spaces. And then finally, not only these are older parks or historical areas we have within our city, we're also looking at expanding our reach, and we're excited. We recently had a property acquisition in the China Spring area. And so we're keeping in mind parks and putting parks in places in areas that might be underserved as far as park property. And then finally, how do we connect all those? We just wrapped up a master trail plan to where you look at places such as China Spring, or you look at places such as the Hart-Patterson Floyd Casey development, or even out at Trailblazer Park on Highway 84. How do we create connections to where people can not only use trails as a form of transportation, but also to connect neighborhoods and different city attractions? So a little bit of what we have going on. Obviously, I'll pass the mic and go down the line. So
I'm going to say we all joked that if Jonathan went first, we wouldn't even have to talk. Because Jonathan likes to talk, and he has got a lot of cool stuff to talk about, so we don't hold that against him. My name is Millette Harrison. I work with neighborhood engagement for the city of Waco. And so that means I work with all the neighborhood associations. Not HOAs, neighborhood associations. So the kind of the friendly, informal, local groups. We have basically a neighborhood association boundary for every stitch of Waco's city limits. And so there's 27 of those. We have about 20 of them that are active right now, and we're working on more. But the purpose is, and the point is, that the city wants to have vibrant, healthy neighborhoods. And so that takes a little bit of effort. And most of it comes grassroots from the neighborhood residents themselves, but we provide a little bit of support just in the way of encouragement, a little bit of in-kind support from city services, and trying to just help them be the best resources they are, and more importantly, make them aware of neighborhood resources or citywide resources that can solve problems that they may think that they're having or they want to work on. So trying to connect them with resources that can really make their communities better, make things work smoother for them. Another piece of what we do is the Waco City Academy. So you've probably, I know you just heard about Citizens Police Academy, and we also have a Citizens Fire Academy, but we have a Waco City Academy, which is a 10-week dive really into all the different departments. Like what are the day-to-day challenges of running a local government? How does that work? And so they have just, it's this deep, but it is a little bit of a dive of all the different all the different departments and kind of what they do. What are their service challenges? How many roads do they pave? How many fire hydrants do they check? Whatever the things are that their department does. And it really is kind of a view of city operations, and it's very helpful both for folks who are involved in the neighborhood associations and just want to know more so they can help their group more. It's also very key for folks who are interested in maybe getting on a city board or commission and knowing a little bit more about all the different operations the city has. So those are the two areas we work on. We have City Academy starting Thursday night. It's been, this is just our second one ever, but it's been very popular. The next one's not till next spring. But certainly if that's something that's interested, I've been telling people lately, apply on day one, because we just about fill the whole academy on day one of the application process being open. But we've thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a great time. And I think everybody in the academy enjoyed it as well. If you have any questions, we definitely have a resource table outside. We'd love for you to get involved in your neighborhood association if you're not, and I mean you individually, but also mean you, your church. You can, either way, you can be a member, and hopefully you can work on a beneficial relationship where because lots of times, people don't think about this, but you're working on the same things in your neighborhood, things you think need to be helped or done or boosted. And wouldn't it be great if y'all just worked together? I think that's a great thing to do. So I'll hush now because I made fun of you.
Hi, my name is Stephanie Alvey. I'm the Assistant Director of the Waco-McLennan County Public Health District. And you may have become really intimately familiar with public health through the last couple of years of the pandemic. But I'm here to talk about a little bit of the services that you may or may not realize that we also do in addition to disease investigations. We have our immunizations clinic, which is, so the focus of the health district really is to improve the health and well-being of the residents of Waco and McLennan County. And we do that through a variety of prevention services. So before I dive right into all of the things we do, everything that we do ties back to preventing either chronic conditions or communicable and infectious diseases. And so you may be really familiar with our immunizations clinic. We offer a variety of adult and childhood routine vaccinations, travel vaccinations. We offer the COVID shots, flu shots on a daily basis. We have a clinic that's open every day to offer those services, and we've really tried to take that service on the road. And so you've seen a lot of our vaccine clinics being offered all over the place to offer both COVID and flu shots. We can do that for routine immunizations as well. So we encourage you to reach out to us and schedule one of those if you feel like that's something that could benefit your community. We do them in schools. We've done them in churches. Any kind of community events, we have a team of vaccinators that can go out and do that. We have our environmental health services division, which may be something you're familiar with. We do a lot of restaurant inspections, pools and spas, and so we have a team of staff focusing on that. We have our vital statistics office, which is birth and death records. That's one that everybody in this room probably has had to access that service at some point or another. And so they offer birth certificates for anywhere in the state. If you're born in the state of Texas, we can issue a birth certificate for that. We issue death certificates for deaths that occur within the city of Waco. And we also offer free notary services through that office, because being able to obtain ID is such a foundational need for so many people. And so we try to add services in there that kind of reduce that barrier and make that easier for people. So we have that office, but some of our lesser known services, we have a couple of clinics in addition to our immunizations clinic. We have a sexually transmitted infection clinic, as well as a tuberculosis infection and care clinic. And so we provide prevention and treatment on both of those those conditions. And so those clinics are offered every day as well. We have so many services. I had to have my cheat sheet today. It's been a little while since we've been out in the community really talking about anything besides COVID. And so I was at our table earlier and I thought, we have all of these services. And so I'm glad I brought my cheat sheet. We have the Women's Infant and Children Program, which is a supplemental nutrition assistance program. They offer nutrition assistance, not only food benefits, which is kind of, similar to SNAP, but they also offer a lot of nutrition education components. So, informing people and educating moms and young children about nutritional aspects early on is what helps us prevent chronic conditions going forward. And so it's really a great program. And it has a lower income threshold than regular SNAP benefits, so that's something that I always like to inform people. You may not qualify for SNAP, but you could qualify for WIC. So we have a sheet out on our table if you want to provide or take that, so that you kind of know what the income thresholds are for that. We're currently serving about 6,300 participants a month with that program, and we want to increase that. We have a lot of more people that are eligible for that service that aren't currently seeking it, so definitely would encourage you to learn more about that and direct your communities to access those resources as well. And one of our probably lesser known efforts within the health district, we have a division called the Health Equity Prevention and Promotion Division. And so we offer a few things that I kind of consider to be our behind the scenes efforts that a lot of people don't realize we're doing at the health department. And so one of those is emergency preparedness. And so we focus on public health emergencies like pandemics or disease outbreaks, but any kind of emergency that would impact people's health. So flooding, tornadoes, all of those things could be impacting people's health. And so at the health district, we actually have a team of staff that plan and prepare for those kinds of emergencies. So if you go to our table right now, you'll see a lot of personal preparedness stuff, because it really starts with the individual. And then we also have our epidemiology program, which does infectious diseases for a variety of different, about 90 plus infectious diseases that are reportable to us. So we identify those infections and make contact with those people, try to investigate where the start of that disease was and stop the transmission from going forward. And then we have our health education program. And this one is a program that's been really growing post-COVID. As the previous session talked about, health disparities really reared their ugly heads in COVID, and so we were provided with some funding to add some staff so that we can provide outreach and education on the different health disparities that we're facing with chronic diseases. And so we have a team of health educators that, if you're interested in having a presentation about any kind of disease topic, we can send a health educator to you and provide that education to you or your congregation. We also teach chronic disease self-management classes. Currently, I think they just finished with the last cohort of diabetes self-management, and all of the participants in that program had amazing health outcomes. Their A1Cs were lowered, they met health goals that they'd been working on, and so we provide that on a regular basis. And we also have a couple of really important coalitions that we host every month. One is our Healthy Women and Children Coalition. And so another health disparity that we're very well aware of in this county is birth outcomes. We have some really poor birth outcomes compared to the rest of the state. And so we have a team of not just health district staff, but community members from a variety of different agencies come together to discuss what those disparities are and what programming and what services are available and what can we do to improve those birth outcomes. And the other coalition that we have is the Live Well Waco Coalition, and that one is focused on healthy eating and active living, and we work closely with our Parks Department and a lot of other community partners to improve the offerings that are available to help people have access to those healthy lifestyles that really impact health outcomes. And so on both of those coalitions, we really have identified the need that we really need community representation. We have a lot of people that work for organizations that provide these services on a day-to-day basis, and we think we know what the problems are and how we can address them, but we would love to have community members serve on these coalitions as well to help us have a perspective that maybe we're missing. And so those are a lot of the services that we provide. I feel like I talked a lot longer. I don't know.
And I'm just going to, Stephanie, if I could just pause for 1 second before we hand it over to Essie. But, I just want to give a round of applause to Stephanie, the entire city staff, and our city management team from the COVID outbreak. That was about, the chief was talking about how 2 years ago, her swearing in happened in here, and it was about 3 years ago that we were having press conferences about how we're going to react to this new virus, and Stephanie's world got really turned over that day, and all of ours did. And I'm so proud of how our city team responded in that moment, but our health district definitely had a very unprecedented heavy load to carry, and I'm so glad that we're not having to carry that, and we're talking about getting out in the community again. And so very thankful for that, and thankful for you. So Essie, why don't you take us home on this one?
Okay, thank you so much. Jonathan and I always laugh at each other because he thinks he has the best job in the city, but I say, no, I do. I am fortunate enough to be the director of the library system. And before I get started, one thing I always ask everybody in a room is how many people have a library card? Oh, wow.
Good hand. Good turnout. Good turnout.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, my work is done. Okay. Well, thank you all so much for supporting the library. If you don't have a card, there were a few of you out there without your hands raised, you can get a library card for free if you live in McLennan County at any one of our 4 library locations. We have one in Central, East Waco, South Waco, and West Waco. The West Waco Library also has the Genealogy Center, and we call that the Target Library because it's right in the same area as the Target store. So everybody says, oh, the Target Library. So we have the East Waco Library, which is right down here on Elm Avenue, and it is open 6 days a week, 1 evening. South Waco Library, it's on the end of 18th Street. So you literally drive all the way down 18th Street, you hit the cornfield, and you turn right, and there's the library. We like to tell everybody that because they're not aware that we have a library that far out south, but we do. The Central Library is our main library. Most people are familiar with it. It's downtown. It's our largest library. It's open 7 days a week. So there's no excuse. You can come get a card. Tell everybody to get one. A lot of people know about the traditional resources that a library has. You know, we have the books, we have the magazines, we have the e-books, the downloadable books now in audiobooks, so you don't have to go to Amazon and waste your money. You can, get a library card and get those for free. But we also have a lot of non-traditional resources that I'm going to talk about today, and those are helping us improve our community through improving literacy. And so everybody's been talking about equitable resources and literacy and making our community successful. And we know that improving reading skills, improving literacy does help our citizens be successful. So one thing we created a couple years ago were something called literacy kits. And it is a backpack, and it has a manipulative, which is like a toy inside, and a couple books. And so the parents can take them home, caregivers, babysitters, and share the toy and the book with the child. And then we also have resources inside, but you can learn things like your numbers, your colors, reading, letter recognition, and all of these help prepare children for kindergarten. Then we also have our STEAM kits. That's fairly new, but everybody knows STEAM stands for science, technology, education, art, and math. And so it's the same concept. There's a toy inside and the books to read with your child. And the kids are so busy having fun with all of these toys, they don't recognize that they're learning anything. We also have sensory backpacks because we recognize that we want to be inclusive and not all children learn the same way. And the sensory backpacks are for children who may be challenged with some issues like frustration, stress, autism. They help the children. And if you ever come into the library and you see the little kids running out with their little backpacks, because they're in a little backpack and they take off and it's so adorable. And like I said, they don't realize that they're actually improving their reading and their literacy skills. Anybody over the age of 5, so if you have children, if you know any children in your congregation, they can come down and get a library card. We also have something I'm a little hesitant to say because they get checked out all the time, but we have museum passes. And we partnered with 7 local attractions in our community, the zoo, the Mayborn Museum, the Texas Ranger Hall of Fame, Mammoth Site, and the Sports Hall of Fame. And we just added the historic Waco homes. So you use your library card, you come into the library, you show us your card, you check out a pass, you take it to the zoo, for example. It's a family can go for free. And so, we thought, well, all of these tourists are coming into our community. We want to share some of our local attractions with the local residents. And wonderful departments like the parks partnered with us and said, we'll give you passes and people can come check them out for free. So that's something new that we've been doing. We have disc golf kits, talking about parks again. So we want to improve literacy, and health literacy is a literacy. And you can come in and rent a disc golf set, go down, play some disc golf, try it out. If you like it, buy a kit. If not, you didn't waste any money. You tried it for free. We also want to improve health literacy, and so we partnered with the health district, and they provided us with blood pressure monitoring kits. So if you know somebody that suffers from high blood pressure, or the doctor said go home and test it, you can come to the library, check out a kit, you keep it for 3 weeks, and every day track your health, your blood pressure, take it back to your doctor and share those numbers. So we wanted to find ways that we could promote literacy and help our community, and we thought, how can we do that with more than just books? So those were some of the highlights of what we offer. And I encourage each and every one of you to come to the library and tell everybody all of the things we talked about today. We have a resource table out in the lobby, and we have flyers so you can take them with you. One thing I didn't mention that I really do want to mention is the number of programs that we have. We have, on average, 100 programs every single month. So we thank you. And we have a terrific board. Yes, so all of our programs are free and open to the public. We serve everybody from babies when they come and do lap time, all the way up to seniors with our genealogy center. They're terrific programs. We have after-hours programs, 7 days a week. We have programs morning, afternoon, and night. And like I said, everything is free. And that helps us reach the city's goal of, being equitable and providing services to everybody and being all-inclusive, and the library is open to everyone. So I encourage you to check our website, wacolibrary.org. Go over to our resource table out in the lobby and pick up a flyer and a swag bag. We have some, tchotchkes and swag to give to everybody. So I hope you take advantage of that. Thank you.
I have one more follow-up question for each of you guys, and that is, any ways that you think that communities of faith could either engage in your departments, either through utilizing the services, again, just as short or as long of an answer as you want to give, or volunteer to help you in your department. Again, y'all have hit on a lot of the services that you provide, so I don't want to go over those again, but what are some ways that, if you think specifically, communities of faith could benefit or utilize or volunteer and serve some of the work that you guys are doing?
Sure. I've got 4 quick ways that you can become involved and join us in a lot of our initiatives and things that we do. Number 1 is a great program, Adopt a Park. We work with Keep Waco Beautiful and have an Adopt a Park program to where we have parks available to where it's a collaboration. We put up a sign, this park is adopted by. You come out and you assist 4 times throughout the year. You're able to get your organization or your family or your church together and you come out and do a park cleanup, have a picnic. It's just a great way to have a little bit of stake in your neighborhood park or maybe a park by your church, so adopt a park. Number 2, encourage participation. A lot of our programs, and I'll use an example, athletic leagues. We have church basketball leagues, we have church softball teams. It's a great way for people to come together and have a good time recreating, and so encourage participation. Also, let your congregation know, hey, check out the library, check out the Parks and Recreation Department. A lot of good programs, and we do this for the families, we do this for communities, we do it for everyone. So number 2, encourage participation. Number 3, host an event. Parks are great spaces for people to come together and offer activities. And whether you want to host a service, whether you want to host a picnic, it's just a great way and a great setting. All of our parks, we allow different community gatherings and events. And so big or small, I encourage everyone, host an event in the great outdoors. And then finally, join us at an event. Community events are really a bread and butter of a lot of what our department does, and we offer volunteer opportunities. And whether that be at a July 4th celebration or Waco Wonderland celebration that we have in downtown, or even a program at our community centers, we offer volunteer opportunities. So I just encourage everyone, come and join an event. So adopt a park, encourage participation, host an event, and join an event.
Jonathan, really quick, one thing I was going to say is a lot of churches and communities of faith have a park in their neighborhood. We have a vast neighborhood park system. So if you're looking at adopting a park, you don't have to adopt the whole of Cameron Park. You could say like, hey, what's the park in my neighborhood? Is there a little pocket park in our park system? And maybe what you could do is partner with some other churches or communities of faith that also share that park in their neighborhood and come together for that adoption. It could be a great way to collaborate.
You're exactly right, and even expanding, you mentioned pocket parks, green space, a lot of people don't realize, we maintain things such as right-of-ways, and not just public spaces, and there's everyone's thing that gets me, and I know the mayor's litter, it's like we want to beautify our city, and that's one of our priorities is just looking at green space and right-of-ways. So if you don't have a park, we can definitely get you set up, but just creating that communication, feel free to reach out to us, and we'll definitely guide you in the right direction.
Be a great way for your youth groups to do some good stuff. Real quick, Jonathan, what is your favorite park in Waco?
Favorite park is Brazos Park East, and it's just a very passive park. We have a lot of different recreational activities, but it's on the river, across from the cliffs. But it's sort of funny. I always say, parks are for people, but I also love, you get that natural feel to it, to where you can feel out, you're by yourself and connect with nature. So Brazos Park East is
Thanks. All right, Millette, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking all these people want Jonathan's job.
Yeah.
That's what I think. So my list is a little shorter, simpler, and I already said part of it, but join your neighborhood. Join your neighborhood association, whether you're an individual or a church. Go to a neighborhood association meeting, preferably keep going. Join them and keep going. Offer up your church as a place where the neighborhood association could meet. Some of them struggle with a place within their boundaries to find a place to meet, and something just feels more natural about meeting with your neighborhood association in your neighborhood association area. So those are kind of the big 3. And then if you're adventurous, come and join us at the next City Academy. We would love to have you come through a City Academy class with us next spring and learn a little bit more about the city and see where else you want to get plugged in.
Millette, I'm going to put you on the spot. What's your favorite neighborhood associate? Just kidding. She likes all of her kids equally. But what do you have a favorite project? I'm going to put you on the spot. Do you have a favorite project that neighborhood associations have done that I'm putting you on the spot? We can come back to it. Sorry. I promised I wouldn't do this, and here I go.
Because this spreads across all of them, but one of my favorite ones is just when a neighborhood comes together to do a cleanup.
Yeah.
And the fun they usually have, the sense of pride and accomplishment that they usually have, and it's usually very light lifting. It's a lot of, fellowship, but it really does help them get a sense of accomplishment and have some neighborhood pride. So I think those are pretty easy across the broad spectrum. They're my favorites.
All right, Stephanie, what are you thinking?
Yeah, so I'm glad you asked this question because I kind of forgot to mention it trying to cover all of the other services that we do. But we are in the process of doing our community health needs assessment, and that's something we do every 3 years. We've been doing them since the early 2000s, and it's really, there's a lot of data about the health of our community and what the health statistics are, but we try to do this every 3 years to get a really pinpoint accuracy about what the health needs are in our own community. And so you may have seen flyers, Facebook advertisements, all of that for participating in either our door-to-door survey, which we did back in October, or we had an online survey that was open for a while. We're currently in the phase of focus groups, and we're actually about to schedule a focus group that's focused on faith leaders. And so if you're interested in having your voice heard, or you have constituents that really want to talk about that, or would be really passionate about that and have a really interesting perspective, we really want to hear what feedback you have, because we need to know from the community what the community health needs are so that we can address them through our programming and services. And so if you're interested in doing that, we have a table out there, we have some cards, and we can get you informed on when that focus group is going to happen. And how you can be linked in. The other thing I mentioned, participation in our coalitions. And another opportunity is we actually have a volunteer program called the Central Texas Medical Reserve Corps. And it's a volunteer program that it says medical in the name, but you don't have to have a medical background. You would just be assisting or supporting the activities of the health district in an emergency or disaster. And so that's a really great opportunity. They offer a lot of really great trainings. Right now they're in the middle of a psychological first aid training series. So psychological first aid is something where you, in a disaster, you're dealing with all kinds of mental health struggles. And so we need trained individuals who can go and kind of be available in shelters or other congregate type settings or things that pop up during disasters, so that we can have the staff there that can kind of de-escalate those situations or be available to people. And so that's just an opportunity that they offer. They offer CPR, other kinds of trainings related to disaster response, so that's another opportunity.
Stephanie, I can picture the back of Stephanie's office because during COVID, there were so many Zoom calls, and so I know what her desk and wall art is from that. So my question for Stephanie is, when you were in the middle of COVID and all you wanted to do was go back to traditional public health and get out of that office and off of those Zoom calls with crazy mayors and et cetera, what was the one program that you're like, I'm ready to get back and do a program like this? And again, if we need to come back to you while you think about it, we can. But
that's an interesting question. One thing that we were working on pre-COVID was emergency planning for vulnerable populations. That is such a scary prospect to me about, when a disaster strikes, some of our most vulnerable populations are, going to be drastically impacted. And so we had actually started a work group prior to COVID that didn't end up getting to, see, the end result of what that planning process would be. But that's something that I think we know we need now more than ever through both pandemic and through winter storms and all of that. And so I'm an emergency preparedness planner at heart, so that sounds weird to a lot of people to want to be able to talk about and plan for things like that, but that's probably something that I would like to see happen, or that I wish I could have seen to fruition.
yeah. Thank you. All right, Essie, what are you thinking?
Please don't ask me my favorite library.
Deal. I will not ask you your favorite library.
I
Deal.
always say I love all my children equally, so I don't have a favorite. But we do have opportunities for you to volunteer. We have a terrific library advisory board, and so that's an opportunity to join our board. We have a friends group that does an amazing book sale every year. I don't know if anybody has been there, but they rent out the Brazos room, the Extraco, we're in the Brazos, the Extraco room, and they have over 100,000 books to sell, and 100% of their profit goes back to the library. So because of them, we're able to do such an amazing summer reading club every year for the kiddos. And so you can volunteer with them. And if you're interested in volunteering inside the library, there's a few opportunities. So if you go to wacolibrary.org, we have an online form that you can fill out. And if there is an opportunity inside one of the branches, then one of the branch managers will contact you and set something up.
That's awesome. I love that Friends of Library book sale in November, and Essie's seen me there, like in a ball cap at like, it's like at the last hour, it's like you get a trash bag and can carry out as many books as you want for like $10. It's a great deal. I shouldn't be telling you all this in case there's competition, but it's awesome. It's the best deal in town.
It is. It's fabulous.
Okay, Essie, question for you. My daughter's favorite program that y'all have ever done has been the Elsa sing-along. That was standing room only, very packed. Do you have any programs that you're like, man, I know, again, you can't choose because y'all do over 100 a month, but what are some programs that you're like, man, that was one of the most joyful times that I've been able to see in a library? Putting you on the spot here.
Well, the ELSA program was amazing. Over 250 people were there that day. I was like counting heads going, oh my gosh, did we reach our occupancy levels today? Is anybody here? But it was amazing. And the staff has been tasked with doing new and innovative programs this year, and they have risen to the task because they are knocking it out of the park. So I don't think that I can name just one program.
No.
I really don't want to do that, but I think they're all amazing, and I love when we partner with community organizations. So we have like our, for example, computer literacy classes and financial literacy classes for the adults. That means a lot to me. But I really do like the children's programs the most, because you see the little kids come in there and, you know, sometimes they're crying, they don't want to leave. I mean, sorry, Jonathan, that's the best job.
Well, I just want to thank these incredible, dedicated city staff members. I'm so thankful for them and their work. And thank you for serving on this panel today. We're really grateful for you.